All right, let's talk about AI. For the longest time, the whole story was bigger is better, right? More data, more parameters, just more of everything. But that whole story, it's starting to change in a really big way. We're going to dive into why the future of intelligence isn't about getting bigger, but about getting smarter and way, way more efficient. You see, the entire AI revolution, these huge models that are changing the world, they're running headfirst into a wall. And I'm not talking about some software bug or a little glitch in the algorithm. Nope. This is a hard, physical, thermodynamic wall. We're talking about a fundamental limit set by the laws of physics itself. So the big question is, what is this wall, and why does it mean that for AI to survive, it actually has to start shrinking? Well, it all boils down to an energy crisis. Seriously. The number one problem for these amazing, giant AI models isn't that we don't have enough computing power. The real issue is their absolutely staggering cost in energy and memory. That's the heart of the whole problem. And this bottleneck, it actually has a name. People call it the memory wall. And here's the crazy part. It's not about the number crunching, the actual thinking part. Not at all. It's all about the massive amount of energy it takes just to shuttle data from the memory chips over to the processor. Just moving it from point A to point B, that simple act is where almost all the energy gets burned. And I'm not talking about a small difference here. We're talking orders of magnitude. Moving a piece of data can cost more than 100 times the energy it takes to actually do the math with it. Think about that. It's wildly inefficient. And it means as these models get bigger and bigger, their energy use just goes through the roof until, bam, you hit that physical wall we were talking about. Okay, so if bigger isn't the answer anymore, what do we do? Well, the solution is pretty cool. It's all about the art of shrinking AI. Researchers have been coming up with these brilliant ways to make models smaller and way more efficient, but, and this is the key part, without making them dumber. And probably the most important tool in their toolbox is a technique called quantization. So what on earth is quantization? Basically, it's about reducing the precision of all the numbers that make up the model's brain. The best way to think about it is like taking a huge, super high-res photo and saving it as a smaller JPEG. You technically lose a little bit of microscopic detail, but, the picture looks the same, right? But it's suddenly way smaller and easier to handle. That is exactly what we're doing to these AI models. Okay, so there are basically two main paths you can take to do this. The first is called post-training quantization, or PTQ for short. This is kind of the quick and dirty method. You take a model that's already been trained and just squish it down afterward. It's fast, it's cheap, but if you need the absolute best performance, especially if you're trying to shrink it down a lot, you got to go with the other path. Quantization-aware training, or QAT. Now, this is the heavy-duty approach. You train the model from scratch, making it aware from day one that it's going to be compressed. It takes way more time and resources for sure, but the results, they're just unbeatable. But of course, it's not that easy. You knew it couldn't be, right? There's a villain in our story, a really stubborn data problem that can just completely wreck the whole quantization process. And this villain has a name: massive outliers. Yeah, take a look at this. It shows you the problem perfectly. See all those little bars? Those are the normal values inside the model. Most of the data looks like that. But then, you see that one giant skyscraper? That's a massive outlier. It's a rare value, but it is enormous, sometimes thousands of times bigger than everything else. And the real kicker is that one huge value, which is often super important for the model to think correctly, it just totally throws off the scale for everything else. So here's what happens. When you try to shrink the model, that one giant number forces you to use a massive scale to fit it in. But on that giant scale, all those tiny, normal, important values, they just look like zero. They get completely flattened, rounded down to nothing. You literally end up erasing the most important parts of the model's brain. So how do you fight back? With a really clever move. It's a geometric trick called do-quant. The idea is, instead of just trying to squish the data as it is, you change it first. Step one, you rotate the data. This basically smears the energy of that one giant outlier across all of its neighbors, so no single value is sticking out anymore. Step two, you permute, which is just a fancy word for reshuffling the channels to make everything more balanced. And finally, you do one last rotation to smooth it all out. What you're left with is a data landscape that's way, way friendlier to compression. You can shrink it without erasing everything. And this is the breakthrough. Solving that outlier problem is the key that unlocks the next level of the game.
Now we can get really aggressive. We can start pushing into the realm of extreme compression and try to break what's known as the 2-bit barrier, a point where things get so small that all the old methods just break.
So one of the first really cool methods is called AQLM. The big idea here is that you don't actually need to store every single number perfectly. Instead, you create a shared library of components. Think of them like a universal set of Lego bricks. Then, the model learns how to build any number it needs just by grabbing a few of these standard bricks and adding them together. It's a genius way to represent a ton of information with just a small set of parts. Then you've got a totally different philosophy with a method called QuipSharp. This one is all about pure, beautiful geometry. It uses some pretty advanced math to twist and turn the model's data until it's as perfectly random and evenly spread out as possible. And then, and this is the wild part, it uses something called an E8 lattice. This is literally the most efficient way to pack spheres in 8 dimensions. I know, it sounds nuts, but it uses this perfect geometric grid to snap all the data points onto. It's like finding the absolute perfect crystal structure to store information. Okay, but maybe the most mind-bending idea of all is something called BitNet. This isn't just a trick. It completely redesigns AI from the ground up. Forget all the complicated numbers. A BitNet model is trained to only use 3 possible values: -1, 0, or +1. That's it. And why is that a game changer? Because it gets rid of multiplication, which is super energy intensive. All the model has to do is add and subtract. That makes it ridiculously fast and unbelievably efficient. So when you look at these 3 side by side, you see they're coming from totally different places. You've got EQLM, which is all about the data. It learns the best Lego pieces from the data itself. Then you have QuipSharp, which is driven by geometry. It forces the data into a perfect mathematical shape. And finally, BitNet, which is all about the architecture. It builds a new kind of AI that's just born to be efficient. 3 different roads, all leading to the same goal: getting past that physical energy wall. But here's where things get really deep. As we get better and better at this compression game, we're not just learning about engineering. We're actually starting to bump up against the fundamental limits of what intelligence even is. And these tricks we've been talking about, they have some profound, almost philosophical consequences. Think about the weird flaws we see in AI today. You know, when they hallucinate and make stuff up, or when they forget what you said at the beginning of a long chat, or when they just seem to be matching patterns instead of really thinking. Well, it turns out those aren't just bugs that we can eventually fix. They might be mathematically unavoidable side effects of this whole compression process. This really gets to the core of it. Look, an AI model is a finite thing. It has a limited amount of space. But the world it's trying to understand, it's basically infinite. You simply cannot perfectly compress an infinite world into a finite box. It's impossible. Something's got to give. So when you ask a model for a fact that it didn't have the space to store, what does it do? It has to make its best guess based on the patterns it's learned. And that guess, well, that's a hallucination. And that brings us to what might be the single biggest takeaway here. We're starting to understand that the ability to compress information is itself a measure of intelligence. It's a total paradigm shift. We're realizing that the smartest AI might not be the biggest one, but the one that can pack the most understanding of the world into the smallest possible space. So I want to leave you with this question to think about. What happens to our world when the benchmark for intelligence is no longer brute force, not size, not power, but instead it's elegance, it's density, it's thermodynamic efficiency? The answer to that question? Well, that's what's going to define the entire next era of artificial intelligence.